Oh, okay. Summer is officially over. And you would be thinking we still have a month and a half of summer. Well, no, it is CRL season in the middle of August because that's what we're doing this season. So that means Collegiate Exclusive is officially back after our 4-month hiatus. Life got busy there for a little while, but we're back for CRL fall, and it feels so good to be saying that. And it feels so good to even have an extra person joining me and TJ on the podcast this week. Iceborg is joining us, spearheading the whole Sheep Collegiate thing and, a whole bunch of other projects in the CRL space. Iceborg, first of all, welcome to the podcast. How you doing?
Thank you. I'm doing real well. I'm doing fantastic. It's a great day to be talking Collegiate Rocket League. It's felt like a drought of nothing going on. So it feels good for it to be like 2.5 weeks away now. Like, it feels crazy.
I know. I can't believe CRL is right around the corner. It feels like summer just started. I know, TJ, you were making the most of your summer. You were what, NACE convention last weekend, and then just on vacation the rest of the summer. What was going on?
My career is at a point where I get invited to speak for half of a day and then go to the beach for the other half of the day. So
nice.
Huge thank you to the University of North Florida and to NACE for having me out. That was incredible. I've gotten to travel a lot this summer. I've definitely needed the break. But man, I got some takes I cannot wait to incite some violence with today. I'm very excited for that.
Luckily, no power rankings on the docket quite yet, since so many rosters are still getting set for the CRL season. That'll be next episode, most likely, but we'll see what you're able to incite, TJ. I'm glad everyone's doing well. I hope everyone in chat right now had a fine summer, because it's getting cut short real early, especially for some of those Europeans that weren't supposed to be back in the States until like the first week of September that are having to travel now. I mean, we'll talk about the CRL schedule pretty soon here. But first, I want to talk about the collaboration that we got going with Sheep Collegiate, which a lot of people may not know yet. Iceborg, I mean, you've got a lot of followers. You've set up a great foundation of a new media outlet in the CRL space. Let's talk about Sheep Collegiate and what you're kind of doing over there.
Oh my goodness. So Sheep Collegiate, formerly Shift Collegiate, obviously formerly with Shift. Shift got bought out by Sheep Esports, and we, with the help of a lot of very amazing people over at Sheep and my great co-owner Noxus, former collegiate player, love the guy to death. We are now running the Sheep Collegiate to just, we're hoping to give a lot of just eyes on the collegiate space that it feels like there hasn't been. And we have about 7 or 8 leagues, nearly said something else and I stopped myself. 7 or 8 leagues that we're planning on looking at and hopefully getting coverage of. Let me see if I can get I have the list of all of them with Noxus. We have PCL, SEL, NACE, NECC, ECAC, NEL, Great Lakes Esports Conference, CECC. That's a lot of different ones that we determined to be probably the most prestigious in collegiate. Mostly also anything that feeds into the CECC LAN was basically the big thing. And it feels like being able to just give more professional outlook onto the collegiate scene, just like how Shift used to help with RLCS roster moves. We're doing the same thing over at Sheep Collegiate. Obviously, it's a smaller scale, and we're hoping that it gets bigger and bigger as the semester goes on. We would just talking smaller roster moves, talking about CRL, and obviously regional transfer to CRL for the first time for Northwood. That was crazy. But other than that, we will slowly be putting out power rankings of our own for preseason and for the entire season. So look out for that. It's going to be exciting. But it's only great things can come from this.
Yeah, going to be a great partnership, a great platform already. I love what Shift did. Now Sheep. Crazy rebrands, by the way. I mean, what was the context behind that? Do you have any of that context, by the way? Like, are you in those conversations?
Okay, so Sheep Esports is an organization on its own.
Mm-hmm.
They were doing the same thing that Shift was doing, only for Valorant, League of Legends, and Call of Duty, I think. And they were approached by Michelin to make a Rocket League division. And they knew nothing about Rocket League, so they just straight up approached everyone at Shift, and we were all volunteers at this point because of how everything going down with Shift. Can't say anything more on that. But we were gratefully, after a lot of conversations, bought out, and then Sheep Collegiate came along thereafter because we were much smaller, and we were like, "Oh, y'all exist? Oh, let's bring y'all along as well. Come along."
Okay, cool. I was trying to get the full scoop there. I wasn't really following super deep when that all happened, but looking forward to working with you guys. Everyone, make sure you go follow Sheep Collegiate if you're not already. The fact that a brand like Michelin is investing in the collegiate Rocket League scene, and you got to support that. Support the sponsors that support the scene, and also follow the Collegiate Exclusive Podcast on Twitter. By the way, I updated the banner, TJ. I feel like this encapsulates us pretty well.
Yeah, no, I think it's a pretty dang good picture. Probably our best picture, honestly. So,
well, go follow everyone on socials, support the scene and all that. But let's get into the meat of things, because we have officially found ourselves in the CRL fall semester. And I mean, TJ, first thoughts on the CRL announcement, because it's early, but there's still other changes outside of just the schedule moving up.
Well, you're bold for letting me talk first, so let's get into it, right? I'm going to go ahead and say this, and I've had both getting to see many directors in person in Jacksonville just last week, and looking at the discourse over social media. I had a lot of very fun conversations with St. Clair on this, and I know that what I'm about to say is shared across a lot of these schools. I'm going to get my negative take out of the way, and then I'll get to my positive takes.
Okay.
So the fact that CRL continues to not listen is very upsetting. And at the end of the day, whenever you started the season at the first week of January in the spring, and everybody was like, oh my God, screw Christmas, screw New Year's, we have to play Collegiate Rocket League, right? That was pretty bad. And I thought the community outrage was enough for everyone to listen. And then you decide, let's do it again. And then on top of that, the season is going to end probably, let's see here. It's going to end at the end of October. We're not even going to get to Halloween yet. Like, it's just, if you go and look at the fall championship for everybody who's watching the stream, right? October 25th, we're going to be done. And we're going to start in the end of August. And I personally feel like it is not a crazy ask to say start in September, end in November. And as long as you get done by the second week of November, I don't think anybody would have a problem with that. Now, here's what I also had a lot of conversations with. Oh, it's because they have to schedule around RLCS. And oh, it's because that's the priority. And I guess that's a trade-off that we're stuck with, but it shouldn't mean that you completely change the entire scene's travel plans for your event. That's not how a publisher-backed event for students is supposed to work. By definition, you back an event like this to support the students, not to cut their time with their families short. That's where it gets personal for me. Now, let's go to positive takes, right? First off, return of the open 3v3 events because of the LCQ and the expansion of the championship. Those were two absolutely necessary things that had to be a part of this format. Now, I do have a hot take, but I can save it if we want to talk more positive.
I feel like we should start the podcast off with a hot take. We're only, 10 minutes into the first episode? We got to drop a hot take. It's been too long.
Okay, cut the 2v2. Cut the 2v2. I personally do not think that it is worth the resources and the time and the dedication where students will sit in these brackets for, and I was there with Concord last fall. So I sat there with Crispy and CMOS in their twos run, and they would go all the way through to win and have to wait in uppers for 2 hours on top of the 5 to 6 hour long run that a winner in that pool will make. Now, is it free money? Is it great? Yes. Could that money be repurposed into what should be a true open 3v3 where we should get a side pool of some kind or a bigger pool in the opens? That's where I think that money should go. So my hot take to kick the thing off is cut the 2v2. I think it's not a good use of funds. That's my positive, negative, and in between.
Yeah. All right. I mean, Iceborg, you wanna start anywhere? First thoughts? You want to talk about 2v2? We got a lot to unpack with this thing and a lot of time to do
I'll
it.
definitely bounce off. I think 2v2 is a great novelty for RLCS. I think it moving to CRL makes zero sense because we are already having we have such a lack of visibility already. Give some love to the opens instead of making another league altogether. Like 2v2, it feels like it's just here's the top teams that have two players win easly and move along with your day. And if they're not playing in the 2v2s, then it's just kind of a free for all for a lot of people. I don't know. I don't think it's necessary for CRL. And I'm 100% on the train that we're starting too early.
Yeah.
We as we're sitting right now, the University of North Texas still does not have a Rocket League manager.
Hey, y'all are hiring. Plug it. Y'all are hiring.
If you go to UNT, please come manage our Rocket League team. Free advertising. But it's so early. Being in August, it feels like some player. If you're like a freshman on a team, you're just getting into college, and then you might be playing CRL before you go to your first class. That's a little too much. It also ending in October just feels absurd to me. It feels like I remember watching CRL years ago in December. It feels like I remember that happening. I might be crazy. I might have to look at Wikipedia and take a look-see. But it just feels such an early ending for then 2 months of then nothingness, and then we're gonna start in probably February, maybe late January for spring.
Maybe January 3rd again.
Oh God. CRL 2024 fall, the national championship. It was ended on November 17th. That's a perfect
reasonable.
day to end
Yeah.
it. That's middle of November. Then you get December off, and you're doing if there's other leagues going on, you still have those going on because obviously everyone has a different schedule. But it ending a month earlier is just it. I don't like it.
Here's a great little schedule stat for you, real quick.
Oh no,
NACE is starting pretty late this semester. CRL starting pretty early this semester. There is a total of 2 weeks of crossover time in the calendar where NACE has started and CRL is still going on. So the end of week 2 of NACE is the weekend that the fall championships for CRL is going on, which is crazy that there is that little overlap between one of the biggest alphabet soup leagues and the publisher backed league of CRL. And we can talk about the NACE schedule if we want later on when we actually talk about NACE. But that's just how absurdly early we're starting. And I'll show more replies to my CRL tweet on here because there were a lot of people in not just my replies, everyone's replies saying that students are not even on campus yet for the first qualifiers. They had to make an exemption where you can play North American CRL from Europe for all the schools that have European transfer students to actually be able to compete. And that's absurd.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
I'll throw another point on top of that too, right? Let's throw $60,000 at it without a board of directors, without any paneling, without any student opinion, without any coaches board. That NACE has all of that, and it's why they get a format that they modify. And now that I saw a lot of very positive reaction to the format at NACE at the NACE convention this year because they listen.
Yeah,
it's not that hard. It's really not that hard.
I think self-select has done a lot of the good numbers for NACE. I think
because they listen and they provide the opportunity and they invest in what people want. I just really wish that the leadership, I'm not going to name drop because there's no point. The leadership within CRL, I just wish that they would form a board, take all of the points of contacts or all of the coaches or directors from your top 8, your top 16. If you give Sean at St. Clair, you give Austin and John at Concord, right? You give West Virginia, you get your Maryville with Dan, like even I throw like even Syracuse, which like you get even half of those directors in, and they already know what the scene wants because they already are on 6 different boards for this exact reason. So CRL just has a huge listening problem, but also a huge leadership problem in my opinion. But yeah, the fact that they had to backtrack and let people play from Europe is probably the saddest rule anything that I've seen within competitive Rocket League, at least in the last few years. It is just so sad.
And it sucks too, because the improvements that they made to the formats are actually great. And the fact that they're putting more money into CRL, fantastic changes. They are expanding most parts in the right direction, but the issue of them not listening to the greater community and just completely steamrolling everything else that's happening that isn't RLCS or CRL, that is continuing to hurt publisher-backed Collegiate Rocket League. And we're lucky that we have third-party events, such good third-party events like the leagues, Alphabet Soups, LANs, whatever, to kind of counteract that. But it still is annoying, and I hope that one day we actually make the improvement of listening. That committee idea, TJ, we need something like that, because there are so many good outspoken directors.
I really wish that I don't want to explode live on stream. It's just, it is such a, and even with my time at Concord, what was really fortunate about that is that I was the point of contact, so I got to interact directly with CRL leadership. And I only interact with 1 or 2 people maximum the entire year. And then when I have an issue, it's the same person. Whenever I have a broadcast related issue, it's the same person. When I'm a community streamer, it's the same person. The only other thing I'm going to add that's more of a suggestive change than an angry change is NACE. And again, I speak a lot about NACE because I was just at the conference, so forgive me for being one-sided for NACE for now.
All right.
But Blizzard, right? Blizzard puts hundreds of thousands of dollars into a collegiate Overwatch competition, and they do it through NACE. And then NACE says, that's great. We will then make sure the doors are still open to the general public, because Blizzard saw a great organization with great structure and said, we want to work with you to provide collegiate competition. That is what Epic, Psionics, whoever, Blast, that's what they should do. Because if you don't have the resources to support or listen to the students and their staff and their directors, you're doing more harm than you are good, even with the format changes. And without LANs, Collegiate Rocket League would not be the second most popular collegiate esport. But because of LANs and because of the accessibility within NACE, NECC, ECAC, PCL, etc., that is why schools enjoy competing in Rocket League. And then the marketability of it, which is a whole other point that Twitch chat brought up. Don't even get me started on how little collegiate coverage we get from publisher-backed sources. Granted, we have Sheep Collegiate, right? We have Champ League, right? We have
do it
this
ourselves,
podcast, right? We have to do it ourselves. And that, again, is just so sad. So, look, you have to put more trust in the community, whether it's NECC, whether it's NACE, whether it's Sheep. If I was, I almost said his name, I got to lock in. If I was the guy who's running CRL and the guy between them, right? This is what I would do on day one, is you could keep the format, right? Mm-hmm. Get a board of directors or get an open forum for community feedback, right? Like an open Google form. Make an internship through it. I don't care. And then partner with Sheep Collegiate. And guess what? Now you've got a media outlet, you've got feedback, you've got action items that you don't have to think about. And all you have to do is just go pitch it to the big guy upstairs, whoever's funding the whole thing, for the $60,000, right? That is all it takes. And then I think that would fix everything in the matter of a few weeks. But instead, good luck to all my Europeans who have to play on West servers, Central servers. Actually, it'll be on Central, my bad.
Yeah,
so good luck to all my Europeans who have to play on Central. That I cannot wait to watch a few schools get absolutely destroyed because of that.
Yeah, that's going to be...
It'll make for some weird seating scenarios. We might have, I just saw this in chat, we'll probably have 1 to 2 teams in league play that just kind of sneak in because of a fortunate ping
Yep.
situation. I mean, think back to the quals last semester when we had, who was it, Boise, Baylor, Michigan State, all in Hawaii, playing on those crazy ping numbers, and so they didn't end up making it to that first qualifier. So we'll probably have some weird situations, and Sullis in chat as well. So live information: Daytona State won't be competing in the CRL quals. I think it's both quals. I didn't quite catch that, but Sullis will be in Japan, and he could reasonably play from Japan. Maybe he gets lucky and the teams agree to West servers, but that is now we could have players playing from Japan in a North American CRL competition, which I want to put the format on screen, because I know since we upload this, there will be video, but we have people that do listen audio only. So I want to run through the format very quickly, just to break it down for everyone that may be a little bit lost in the conversation, but similar format to what we've been doing previous semesters. So we got the 2 open qualifiers to qualify teams for league play, 16 spots again, really awesome change. Shout out on the positive side to the team organizing this for expanding last semester and keeping that for this semester. So 2 qualifiers. First one is August 23rd, which as of today is 18 days away. That is a Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern time. And then for those that don't make it through those first 2 qualifiers, you've got the open 3v3 tournaments, which for the most part take place in September. First one September 12th, then 2 weeks later on September 26th, which I think is Thursdays. Someone correct me on that if I'm wrong. And then October 3rd is the final open 3v3. League plays going on every single Sunday, which is September 6th, and then basically every week. There's one where it skips, but you don't need to know that yet. And then the last chance qualifier for the teams that qualify through the open 3v3 tournament side of things is on October 18th. And then the next weekend after that is the fall championship. So there you go. That's the formats. It's pretty straightforward, which is very nice. No one is out after the first 2 qualifiers, which is also nice. And it gives us a lot of content. So outside of the pretty awful scheduling, format is not bad, and they're injecting more money into it. And I do also agree with the 2v2 point, TJ, but I didn't want to just repeat points because I think you broke it down pretty well. But any more strong opinions on the CRL format before we start moving on into roster talk and all that fun stuff?
I am under the opinion that I think that 2023 was the last great year for CRL. Not for any team reasons. I've loved the roster changes. I've loved all the Europeans coming down in North American CRL. It's just, it was the last time we had East and West. That was the fall 2023 was the last time we had East and West. And obviously, also, yes, 2023 had Worlds as well, but that's a whole different point I would love that to be back. But having East and West and having double the teams that we have right now, I felt like it was a much more enjoyable experience. We got more teams involved in the official league play. I love the opens, but sometimes it feels like if teams don't make the actual league play, they just stop playing. And they go to other leagues. That's what it feels like. It feels like if they don't make the league play, they just leave, and you don't never see them again. And then you find out that they won another league, and it's like, oh, okay, why didn't you play in the opens? It's like, I didn't want to play in the opens. It's like, because if you have one bad run in one open, you probably are not making the championship from the opens. It's like, I like having East and West. Obviously, it's always sometimes people argue that sometimes there's more East teams than West teams nowadays. I have no idea how that is nowadays. Maybe you need a North and South. Maybe that's even worse.
Bad blood there.
If you could go back even further, I still remember the glory days of North, South, East, West. That was the best possible. I still love that format to death.
2018, holy.
That is still.
I'll add something onto that. All right, take everything you just said. Just delete the East and West part.
Yeah.
Just bring 24 or 32 teams, make it national, because with all due respect to the West, they're not there yet, and I don't think they'll ever be there. But no, exactly, I agree. And I laugh so much at this because the fact that we are having a genuine conversation that we have not had respected decent, fair CRL for 3 years is just hilarious to me. That's all I'm adding. I'm good now.
All right. Yeah, I like the conversation about it too. And this is what should happen, I think, before every single CRL semester between directors and stakeholders in the scene. But maybe one day we'll get there. All right. Any more strong opinions before we start jumping into roster talk? Because I know a lot of teams are going to be wanting to check out the competition for this semester because you've got 2 weeks to get acclimated.
No, I got strong opinions on the rosters. I'm good.
I got one more strong opinion. I think giving 4 spots to the opens in like last chance is too much.
4 spots?
Whoa, 4 is too much?
I think that the last chance qualifier should be 2 teams going to at most. I think if you made league play, you have much more incentive, and like you made the league play.
Mm-hmm.
You should have a higher percentage to make the championships than someone that did not make league play and just did well in playing bottom feeder teams throughout and getting good points.
I think though, with all the volatility of the qualifiers and like playing on high ping and there being 2 days that are really early in the season, you kind of have to give that equal balance to the last chance qualifier.
Unfortunately, because of how they've scheduled their own league, it's a moot point.
Yeah, I can hear both sides. I am always on the side of the kids should get experiences, and I'm all for the same point I just talked about, where we should be as close to 24 teams competing in official events as possible. So, like, for example, having the top 16 in league play and then it's actually the bottom 12 in league play, sorry, and then the top 8 in the open 3v3, that gets us to 24 competing total. I'm happy with that. And then 4 coming out of the LCQ. I could hear an argument for the 2, but I also I think I lean a little more the other way.
If you're gonna have it 4, up the amount of teams that are making, like up the teams in league play, and then up the teams making the championships from league play. Once again, talking about 2023, there were 12 teams at nationals. That's a great number. That was a great number, and it was a really good national championship bracket. That was real great, and that was just all league play, guys. There was no open. So if you, so people just don't want to.
I like the accessibility of the open format though, because league play can be a little bit closed off, and I think that's almost the most daunting part of CRL. Why we've seen a decline in team participation from the teams that are like, you know, top 48 and below, because there's just no shots when league play is so closed off. But, you know, if you're able to work through the opens and have a decent run, then you do get a shot at this huge behemoth of a bracket like Tigres, a team like Tigres. Probably in most seasons, if you put them into the field, they're not going to have that shot of making it to the championship. But, you know, they could have that dream day where they make a run through the last chance qualifier. And the more spots that go through the LCQ, I think the more accessible it is to the greater community. I think it does solve a problem of people complaining about how there's no point in playing in the CRL because of all the pros that are at the top now. I think that this kind of answers that a little bit. Obviously, it's still not easy to make it to the championship that way, but more accessibility is always good, I think.
Roster time?
Roster time. Let's do it.
All right. Roster time it is.
All right. So for those of you that are not in my Discord server, you may not have seen this spreadsheet or follow my streams, actually. I've been showing it on stream a lot, doing the Gaming Oasis Summer League. We have a lot of roster moves that have gone down that I've been tracking in my new Collegiate Rocket League Fall 2026 spreadsheet. I'm about to put it on screen. Just give me a second to make sure it's real nice and pretty, because there's a lot of info on this thing. I'm going to start with the most notable moves at the very top, and then we'll go through the teams who we don't know what the deal is with them quite yet. But right now, this is everything that is either public or semi-public with permission to put it into this spreadsheet. And we are going to also rank our top roster moves with regards to the impact they have positively on the team that they've happened within. But like first just eyeballs on the top rosters. This isn't even all of them. I think this is maybe a third of the list. I mean, TJ, you said you got hot takes on the rosters. You wanna like pick one and latch onto it real quick?
Yeah, I'll start with a slightly. Oh man, I got to think about where I want to start here. I will keep my hottest take in my back pocket.
Okay.
I will start with Ball State because it's a positive take that I have.
Okay, actually, before you jump into it, I should have explained the format here real fast because it does apply to Ball State. Ball State's in italics because this is not their confirmed roster. This is most likely what their starting roster is going to be. So if it's in italics, then that player may or may not be in that position, but it's probable. So like Northwood, they're running a 4-man roster, and we don't know who the starting lineup's going to be. So when Drafinho's in that sub spot, he's not really the sub. It's just a 4-man roster. Davenport haven't confirmed if it's going to be Exiled or Para and stuff like that. So take the player 4 positions with a grain of salt right now. Sorry, TJ, continue.
No, I mean, a really good point because I don't want anybody to be confused. And I feel bad for our audio listeners. So if you're on Spotify, you should open it up in full screen and take a look at the spreadsheet very quickly. The point that I was going to bring up was about Ball State. I am very, very proud and very, very happy with where Ball State positioned themselves because you not only managed to sign 3 really, really good kids. I've been fortunate enough to meet Yeti, Fish, and Phoebes all in person and also play with them in certain circumstances as well. Phoebes and Fish I've gotten to play with. They are incredible. Phoebes has gotten so good so quick this year, and I expect Phoebes to be the starter. I think that's a fair assumption. And then Fish was right in your backyard, Bepic, over in Alabama, and we got to spectate a lot of Fish. You got to spectate triple the Fish that I did. Fish, an absurdly talented kid, and who better to go with him to Ball State than Reach, who is now going to be playing on the Valorant roster. I mean, that's an incredible story, getting the 2 Bob Jones high school kids together.
Shout out Alabama Rocket League.
And then you get over to Yeti again, such a nice kid. And I met Yeti at CECC. Yeti just is happy to be there and was almost like sitting there with me, like, oh my gosh, is that Garrett? Like, oh my gosh, like I get to learn from Oath and Guh. Like super, super grateful, super, super aware. I haven't met Toast yet, so I don't have anything to add about Toast. But Ball State has built a dynasty in terms of player development. And I will even go the extra mile and say that it is a very, very nice touch to not see a single European at a D1 school like this. They are doing it traditionally, and I think it's good for the future. Now, is it going to work in the short term for championships? Potentially not. Maybe they win an ECAC. They could get a good run. Maybe they win NACE again. Maybe they get a good run there. That is success to Ball State. That is success to BK in that program. And I'm excited to see what Ball State gets to do this year. So that's my conservative take because whenever we get to our rankings of roster moves, that'll kind of back up one of my points. I just want to start with a positive. I'll save my hottest one.
Yeah, I like it. That's what kind of this is for. Kind of a soft entry into the roster discussion. So Iceborg, you got a roster change you want to lock onto and chat about?
Goodness.
Yeah, good luck choosing.
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about. I think the obvious is Mata and Drafinho coming to Northwood.
Yeah.
Like that's insane to me. Like not like a bad way. I find it. I think this is the first regional transfer for Northwood in their entire history as a university for Rocket League, and it's a pretty crazy one. And obviously, I think the roster is going to be Creams, Mata, and Drafinho. And I think a hot take for me. I think this team for me is they're either going to win or get second place.
Okay, calling it now.
CRL. Yeah, I think this team is going to be in the championship game.
All right.
I don't see a world where they don't.
I mean, Armada and Drafinho, sorry, I don't follow RLCS like I used to. I know one or both of them made the world championship in RLCS. Is that
Drafinho?
Okay, Drafinho did.
LCQ. Yep, Sam LCQ.
I mean, is he the first, obviously he's not in CRL yet, but is he the first sort of CRL player to be competing at a world championship?
Yes, he is. That is confirmed.
Okay, at least presently, because obviously you've got guys like Speed and Relating Wave that have been to world championships, but they're not actively at that level. And I mean, the fact that Northwood is going to have a world championship level player in their starting lineup is crazy. And CRL takes another giant leap for our scene. So I'm with you, Iceborg. That's kind of the biggest elephant in the room. And I'm going to pick two for mine because I want to clarify why 5UP is italicized. From what I gleaned from my conversation with Akron was that the extent of his participation with Akron Rocket League is not confirmed yet, just by way of having to do this research. At the time, it was 3 weeks before the first qualifier was set to start. So 5UP has some question marks around him right now, which is why Emilio, Patty, and Bullseye are the ones that are bolded as the first three players. So that's why that is the way that it is. But Concord's got to be mine to talk about because Rezi was a guy I got to get very familiar with when I was doing the Team 100 team stream, which was formerly the trio that Crispy was on right before he left for Concord and CRL initially. He popped off in that Shift Summer League way back when, it feels like eons ago, alongside Rezi. And so I got to see just how good Rezi is on the ball. And I think that puts Concord at the top of the list of individual mechanical ability, just across a 3-man lineup. And in all of CRL, I think they are the most talented with what they can do on the ball now that they've added Rezi. And I hate it because Helix represented like North America so well in that lineup, and he still will be competing in the 4-man lineup and also coaching, so he's very much still involved. But Rezi is a pretty big upgrade to that Concord lineup. I mean, TJ, do you have opinions on this Concord team that you got pretty familiar with the last couple of years?
Yeah, I mean, look, they've been pulling for a move like this to finally bring in all 3 RLCS talent. They've been trying to pull for this for what feels like 2 years now. I am very, very happy. Chase Helix is somebody who I got to consider a very close friend during my time at Concord. We spent a lot of time together, really got close and still are to this day. Chase is... and both is and was one of the best grinders in all of CRL. Yeah. But that takes a toll. And of all the things that Chase can say that he is a national champion in an age against European pros. Again, that 2024 run was led by him on the offensive front with 2 of some of the biggest names in the scene, and who are still some of the biggest names in the scene today. So there's nothing left for Chase to accomplish. And now he gets to take a much more calm route. He gets to sit back and simply enjoy the year. It's his senior year. I am very, very happy for Chase. And I'm going to apply the exact same logic. I think Drewy's in the same boat. I think both of them are going to be very, very happy where they can focus on RLCS if they want to, and they can focus on CRL if they want to. But at the bare minimum, they will be absolutely critical mental and physical additions to the roster with LANs, with being in call, with league matches, with qualifiers. That is a huge, huge plus for those schools. And it kind of comes back to my point about Ball State, where you need that support level of not a director and a coach. You need that support level with the players around you and the students around you as well. So you get Chase as a coach alongside John. Very excited for them. And then you get Drewy alongside, hold on, Kev, don't kill me. Alongside Nick. You get Drewy alongside Nick. I mean, those are 2 really, really fun groups of guys to learn from and listen to, and also have your back during the season. Very, very happy about those roster moves.
And I'm going to flash the bottom of the list on the screen. It's not even the bottom of the list. It's like the middle portion of the list real quick, because some of these rosters we're not going to have in our rankings because we are kind of biased towards the top, but I'm going to put it on screen if you want to pause and look at the sheet. Also, if you're in my Discord server, this sheet is pinned in general, I think, or announcements. I can't remember which. So you're welcome to pop in here and look at the list yourself. But like this is how stacked CRL is right now. The fact that we are 20 teams down the list and we have roster moves like Barris and TMS, which is big time going to Ole Miss, the biggest shakeup they have had in the last, I think, 3 years. And Leslie's changing around, and we're still waiting on rosters like George Mason to lock in. And I did see something in chat about Fisher earlier, which is cut off on screen right now. They're still figuring out their starting lineup, which is why they're not filled in at all. So Fisher's not locked in. We've got some other big time roster moves that'll have huge impact on the top of CRL this semester. DJTJ happened to make the list. Don't know how he snuck in there, but so much going on in the way of roster moves that we had to break it down by way of a list, a top 10 list of what we think the most impactful roster moves are going to be. So I'm going to pull that up real quick. Iceborg, if you want to stall for time, you're new, go stall for time. Let's see what your waffling abilities are.
My waffling ability? Oh my gosh.
If you need help, I got some hot takes to fire off. You just let me know.
Well, I think if I'm going to talk about anything, I want to, we have, who is it? JNaps coming over as coach.
Oh yes, he's not even on the
for
list.
St. Clair.
I
Great
forgot.
point. Great point.
I think that's incredible for St. Clair, even though that they may or may not be able to play in the quals at all. Who knows? Hopefully, I think it's incredible leadership for that team, as well as Roldiz becoming the head coach over at GCU.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you scratching your head, DJ? What's going on over there?
Do you want to argue about it for a second?
Go ahead and argue. I want to know what's going on over there. What's
not a good hire. Not a good hire.
Oh,
not a good
what?
hire.
Look, all right. Look, let's talk about it, right?
Oh my god.
All right, I'll get to Roldiz. I don't think if you are not full scholarshiping your program, what is the point of hiring an RLCS coach? What is the point? I don't understand. Like, Roldiz is not an awful hire. I'll get to that. But it makes zero sense to hire a coach like that, because I think, and I'm so sorry to Jay and GCU, they're good people, but from a competitive standpoint, the best they are going to get to compete in, as of today, unless they sign 2 or 3 or even 1 RLCS player, is going to be NECC West Div 2.
They've got Mountain West too, don't they? Don't they compete in Mountain West?
Yeah, but then even that, I don't know who else is in that off the top of my head. I don't know how safe of a league that is. But again,
Boise.
like you're paying Roldiz, yeah, and Boise is in there. So point made. Like, you're hiring Roldiz to what was last? I don't know this year's roster. Last year it was a low SSL roster.
This is what I've got so
Roldiz. You're hiring Roldiz. Yeah, you're hiring him to coach a bunch of 2K 1900 players. And Roldiz's biggest moment as a coach is going to be a timeout in NECC Div 2 or Mountain West Grand Finals, I guess. Like,
they do compete at CECC every year. They have kind of a free ticket to CECC, but they're usually just a groups team.
Drafinio's gonna put a sock in it. Like, I don't get it. I don't get it. It's so confusing to me. Like, you put them up against the Concord from ECAC or from a CECCLCQ.
Yeah.
I mean, you let Crispy look at Roldiz once and he's gonna be mush. Like, I don't get it. And because there's nothing that you can do, at least with the current lineup. Now, granted, if GCU comes in with a bunch of 2.1, 2.2K players, okay, now we're talking about a team that can do some damage in the opens. Not league play yet. I'm not there yet. We're talking about teams who can do some damage in the opens. Now, does anyone want to add anything before I talk about Roldiz?
Oh God. Thank you, RB, for saying GCU has at least 4 players trying out. I'm very happy for GCU for at least 4 players trying out.
What level players, though?
That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
That's fantastic for them. They could be 4 platinum players. Not saying they are, but like, who are they? Who not okay, high. Not high. Okay. Okay. Now
okay, hold on. RB, what is your qualifications real quick? I don't recognize the name, but I want to know. RB, you do the West Coast 6-mans, is that right? I think that's a West Coast source. But
guest appearance.
I don't doubt you, RB. Sorry. There are a lot of names. CWCS. There we go.
Listen to RB says hot shot. Uh-oh.
I get a lot of people in my that I talk to, RB. That's my bad. I know we've chatted before now. My bad. But okay. So that is a legitimate source. I just wanted to have that live on the show. Like that, this is where the source is coming from. RB is very much tuned in to the West Coast Rocket League scene. So GCU maybe has a good team. Maybe it's a long-term thing. TJ, what are your opinions on Roll Diz?
All right. So let's pop quiz for the group. All right. No raise of hands. Feel free to blurt it out. Name me the last event or last season that Roll Diz coached a relevant team, like top 16 NA.
RLCSX.
Ooh, no, early, like more recent. I mean.
Wasn't it just last year?
Yeah, so it was 2025 with Deleted.
Oh,
and
yes,
actually it was Andy, Gyro, and Wavy.
That's
now,
a good team.
Granted, did they make any big moments, any big adjustments in any of those series where I was like, man, Roll Diz is a great coach. Man, Roll Diz made a banger call. Looking at this game again and thinking back to those games, there was nothing at all that I feel like. Now, granted, was he probably the best hire on the list? Absolutely. But I don't think that he is like a superstar coach, and it doesn't change the program culture. And the only other thing I'll add as well is that the last time that Roll Diz was coaching at a pro level was 2023. And that was RLCS season 2022 through 2023 and with FaZe. And granted, any first killer team is a mental boom, but like it was pretty rough in my opinion. It was a pretty interesting stint for them, other than the winter major where they got second at said major. Honestly, I don't think outside of that, it was a really great. That was 2023. It's been too long.
I think you're convincing me more right now that this is a good fit, because the fact that we're not calling Roll as a top-notch RLCS coach is fine. Coaching collegiate is pretty different, especially if you're starting with maybe a couple 2K players on the roster. I think honestly this could be more of like a transition to a different style of coaching. He's building a different side of his skill set with this move to GCU. I mean, the fact that he hasn't been with a top RLCS team in a little while, but still has that experience, I think that could do him a lot of good to now bring that and build these players up over time, which maybe is why they've hired him and don't have RLCS level players. They're hiring him to develop these low SSLs into something maybe a little bit better, because he's got the pro experience. Like he no doubt about that, went to a world championship. So
like before the spring split for that FaZe team, he got third, fourth with FaZe at a world championship, then third, fourth at the fall split major, and then second at the winter split major. If they don't get reverse swept by Optic Gaming for some act of God in that regional 3, that Reynolds team, if they don't get reverse swept by that Optic team, they probably go to another. They probably make everything. They probably make spring and they probably make worlds. We probably think of Roll as a very different coach, and that FaZe team is a very different team. Obviously, we live in a very different universe where they did get reverse swept, and then the whole downfall of that entire roster happened. So you never know. I think it's. I do agree with you. Having a coach before a team is a little stunning sometimes. I think putting resources into a team first would have been great. But I do think it's a good coach to have. It's just kind of like, okay, GCU, you now have the coach. Where's the team?
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. And I'm definitely on the more aggressive side when it comes to it. I just like, it's not to me a move that I saw and I was like, oh my God, because again, the team is missing. So will he contribute to the collegiate scene? Yes. Do I hope, sorry, English. Do I hope that he will actually focus on and contribute to the collegiate scene? I hope so, because we are missing friends in the pro scene who are willing to talk about college Rocket League. Both him and T-Bates now have ties to Collegiate Rocket League. I expect them to help us in the future. I pray that they will help us in the future. And because we don't have any voices fighting for us at that level of following, of that level of casting and job roles within Blast and Psionics and all of that. So I have a lot of hope, but what I expect is a low bar because again, you're missing the team. So yeah, maybe you could nix what I think about him as a coach. Just I'm glad we're all at least in agreement that it makes a lot less sense to hire somebody of his experience before getting the team, and I'm okay with leaving it at that. I can be okay with that.
All right, good, because we're gonna put our lists on screen. We're gonna cover my side and chat's side of the overlay and look at these top 10s. Obviously, we're all in agreement as to what the top 2 moves are at very least in terms of moving the needle for these teams. Concord and Northwood, definitely top 2. But let's talk Cumberland because they have a big time recruit coming in. And this is, I think, more of a positive move in the sense that Kazi is just that good and will improve this roster this much, and not that they're removing Hotshot from the starting lineup, because Hotshot, I don't think we could have praised him anymore last semester for what he did with that Cumberland team, elevating them after they moved NECC out of the starting trio. Like that was probably one of the best stories of the CRL semester. But Kazi, from what he showed in his time at Columbia, I think is just that good and will bring Cumberland back towards the top. And Iceborg, you've all also got them in the top 3 alongside me. So if you want to share your thoughts on the roster, go for it.
I enjoyed watching this Cumberland team last semester a lot. Last semester was probably the first time I was sitting down and watching all of the opens when they were happening. And I was exhausted at the end of the day. But Cumberland was a fun team, and I think Kazi is going to do a world of difference. That's why I have them top 3. I had them top 5 originally, and then I just slowly moved them top 3 because I think it's going to be a good move for them. And I think they will make league play. I don't know. Hopefully comfortably. With this team, I hope to God comfortably. But I think they can. I think they can pull a big upset or two, and like try to sneak into that top half.
You got any thoughts on it, TJ? Before we move on to, I guess we'll go WVU next. If you don't,
I mean, I got takes on the WVU roster.
Well, shoot, let's go to WVU because I'm sure we'll talk Cumberland on the podcast aplenty this semester. We have a way of doing that. But talk to WVU because I'm curious about this. Since I don't follow RLCS like I used to, I don't know much about the new coming of Devo. Not the old Devo, by the way, for those that did watch RLCS when I did, but new Devo. So what you got for us?
Well, Devo's the truth. Devo on day 1 is the best player on this roster without a shred of doubt in my mind.
Okay.
And not a hot take. Let's talk. Like, we don't. Not a hot take. Devo is the best player on this roster, period. Now, somehow, some way, the management of West Virginia Rocket League has to be studied because it is not only one of the best roster moves, it's also one of the worst roster moves because now you have Gyro, Matter, Devo, and Cosmic. And the fact that one of those players has to sit is a tragedy because I know that all of them are very consistent about competing. Now, the only way I think it slides through is if Matter doesn't want to play. I believe Matt is a junior, I think, or a senior. If Matt doesn't want to play and doesn't want to grind, all right, fair play. But my even hotter take on top of that is if Matt actually grinds the game, he would start on this roster if I'm the coach. That's my hottest take about this roster. So it's one of the best moves. That's why it's top 3 for me, because Devo is incredible. And West Virginia need explosiveness. West Virginia need offense. Devo will give you that offense every single time. But someone's got to sit. That's a tragedy. So I feel both ways about it.
Okay.
Iceborg, you got strong opinions on it?
On WVU, I have them top 10. I think Devo is an incredible player. I think this year has been the least amount of time I've put into watching RLCS, which is unfortunate.
It's all right, me too.
Yeah, that's a fun little graphic you have on our screen right now.
Yeah, I've got all the graphics pulled up. I'm just gonna sprinkle them in.
Yeah, I have no idea where he fits, and I don't know what this roster is going to be. But I think that Devo is an incredible, he's played on like basically nobody teams, and now gets to play with two very seasoned CRL players and one very, very seasoned RLCS player. I think it'll do wonders. That's why I have them in the lower half of my top 10 instead of being top 5.
Yeah, I've got them lower as well, just because I don't think it's going to move the needle that much for them, just because they're already at the top pretty much. But if he's the wonder kid TJ says he is, then I'll have to look out for WVU. West Virginia Rocket League is going to be very much on top this semester. But next up, Iceborg, I'm going to stay it with you because LCU is kind of near and dear to your heart, considering their big addition to the A team is Mercy, your former high school teammate. So let's talk about this move, because I feel like you are the most well-qualified to talk about Mercy's game.
Mercy was like consistently like in the like beating pro player. Like, it means nothing, but being a high school sophomore, he was beating pro players in ranked consistently, and it feels like a decade ago. It wasn't actually a decade ago, but for me it does. And so now that he didn't go to college for a long time, and he's just been grinding and just been doing RLCS. So seeing him finally make the leap into CRL I'm so happy for him. I recruited him to UNT for about 5 years and he never came. So sad. He's going to LCU. And you know what? Good for him. My other high school teammate plays for the LCU B team.
Yeah.
And I think that's the funniest thing in the world that both of them are over there. I'll see them probably at every Texas LAN that's going on down here. I think that this move is so good. I love whoever is going down to the B team, either Schmacked or New Year's Serum. Both of them are fantastic players. I got to meet them at the Texas championship that Baylor won last.
It's both actually. They're both playing on the B team.
They're both on the B team.
Yeah,
awesome. Either way, they're both incredible players. I think Mercy is just if he is in a good spot where he has the best mental he has in his career, this team can work wonders. He is incredibly mechanical, and he can fit into any type of roster. I've seen it happen before. He's a leader on the field, and I think this is a fantastic upgrade for LCU.
All right, I'm glad, because they were kind of at the butt of a lot of jokes this last year. LCU, when they were kind of getting their stuff together and figuring out where they wanted to be, because they were just like Bruton Parker, whereas just simply they were a gatekeeper team for the top 20, and they would never budge from that position. They wouldn't even beat Bruton Parker. So I hope we finally get an LCU that is back to the sort of form that we were seeing from them a couple of years ago. So that's why I've got them top 5 as well. TJ, you've got them top 5 too. So I think we're in a good bit of agreement. This is a big roster move. But with all the Indiana Tech fans in chat, TJ, you're going to get flamed for having this move number 8. Alex is taking Bluey's spot on the Indiana Tech starting lineup. So going full European now is Indiana Tech. What do you think about that?
Well, I had to educate myself with Alex performance in RLCS, and I will say I'm quite impressed in a few things, like a top 32 in the Europe 2v2 Open, a top 48 in the Europe LCQ, some great EU Open performances, top 22 here, top 28 there, top 22 here. Like, that's all within the 2026 season. Unfortunately for Somber and any of the Indiana Tech guys who are going to play this clip and try to beat me at LAN with it.
Yep, they will.
I don't, as of today, as of August 8th, 2026 at 9:58 p.m. Eastern time, I don't think it gets Indiana Tech out and into the top 8. I don't think it does that yet. Now, is there possibility? Absolutely. August 5th. Sorry. Yes, you're right, Coop. My bad. Thank you, Uncle. Thank you. I think that if Velocity and Risharum can get back to their expectations as a duo rather than butting heads here and there, as long as they can get over that, Indiana Tech could upset Maryville again. They could upset a Cumberland. They could upset a West Virginia. It's absolutely possible. But the move itself doesn't make me think one of the best moves, because I don't think it changes program expectations as much as some of the moves above them in my list. That's my reasoning for it. Am I excited for them? Yes, but I need to see Velocity and Restroom work that out.
Okay. They touched top 10 a few times in the last calendar year or so once this team came together. But yeah, I mean, I don't know much about Alex just from what Sombers told me. I know that the team is very high on him. And Bluey was in my chat a few streams ago saying the same sort of stuff. But Indiana Tech do get very excited. So I'm hoping it means they've got a shot at the fall championship, because I like those boys. But we shall see. Iceborg, you got strong opinions on, or do you want to move on to your next?
Indiana Tech was a weird team.
Yeah.
In league play last year, they upset Maryville, Fisher, and Akron, I think.
I believe that's right.
And they went 5-10 overall, and that's just absurd to me. I'm like, really? Getting those upsets, it really felt like if they had a little more consistency, they could have pushed for a top 8, and trying to push into the top 4 is a very crazy more undertaking with the top teams. But they still took down the number 1 team, Maryville, in league play. Akron obviously had a bunch of wishy-washy in league play, but Fisher was still top 6 in league play.
Yeah, finished second overall,
and just fumbled into 13th for Indiana Tech. And then I don't remember what they did in the last chance qualifier. I
think they were like middle of the table, like won a couple, lost a couple, didn't do much.
Yeah, they lost to Ball State, which happens. Yeah. You're gonna lose to a Ball State every once in a while.
Ball State crushed them on LAN, unfortunately, too. So
Ball State does kind of own Indiana Tech a little bit with that Indiana rivalry, and BK will let them know about that in chat, I'm sure.
Battle for Indiana. I know BK would love to talk about that. So, anyways, you can keep going.
But either way, I think this move I think it's a great move for them. I don't know players enough to not think, oh, this is just one name for another name.
Yeah.
For the longest time, I thought Bluey was the European Bluey until I was like, that is not right. It took me into the middle of last semester to figure that out. So sorry to him. I'm so sorry. But I wish them the best of luck. They were a fantastic story when they made league play last semester. They were a fantastic story in Open Qualifier 1 last semester. So I wish them the very best, and I just don't have that move top 5.
Yeah, that's fine. I think that's another one of those teams that remains to be seen. Boise as well, I think in a similar boat. They've brought Mystical in as another name I don't know much about. TJ and Iceborg, I'm gonna rely on you guys to give me the fill on him, but he is replacing Durtho, who has finally aged out. I do believe, I didn't get official confirmation on that, but that's what I remember having discussions about. So, I mean, TJ, do you know much about Mystical?
I mean, Mystical, Boise, me and BK had a great conversation about Mystical. Mystical is an incredible prospect, and Boise State claims that Mystical is the number 1 high schooler, the number 1 prospect in the nation.
Yeah, I did see that.
Flaunted that all over social media. Now, is he the best North American high schooler? Yeah, we could have that conversation. Absolutely. Number 1 recruit was just a funny way to tag it. But anyways, Mystical is a very, very good player. However, you lose your literal franchise poster boy if you're Doc Haskell, and you lose Durtho. And that's a hard piece to fill. So Mystical as a freshman, or I could see Preston stepping up into that spot. Maybe even Woozy, actually. I think actually Woozy would step into the team captain spot.
Yeah.
And I think if Mystical is willing to embrace this D1 atmosphere and is willing to embrace the energy that Doc Haskell can instill in them, and that Woozy on LAN especially can instill, like, I think this roster is going to be fun to watch. I think that this is a move that changes program culture. That's why they're above the Indiana Tech move, in my opinion. And I think this makes Boise a contender in the PEC. I don't know if it makes them a contender in the nation. I think that unfortunately for Boise to make league play, in my opinion, I think that Boise has to play Europeans on European ping. I think that's the only way they make league play. Now, are they a top 20 roster, top 25 roster? Could they upset a few schools? Absolutely. Could they
so
potentially?
You think their best hope is Qual 1?
Yeah, exactly. And could they even have a run-in with some former CRL teams? Like, could they run Syracuse's pockets with this new roster? I don't want to get there yet, but it's possible. Could they challenge Indiana Tech? Could they beat them in Game 5? Possible. I'm willing to hear those types of results out, but I'm not on Boise making league play yet, but they are right there. And as long as Doc plays the cards right, we could see Boise maybe win some PEC events. We could see them win some LANs, and we could see them potentially make league play. I'm all for believing in that, but I gotta see a little more yet.
Well, I ignored the weird formatting. My plugin to do dark mode is acting up right now, but we like making fun of just stuff in general around the scene on this podcast. And so I want to read the press release on Mystical. I'm sure he's a great player. This is just Boise being a little silly. League OS, the nation's premier high school recruit ranking platform, has ranked Mystical as their top high school prospect in the class.
It says 2023.
The world championship on the bottom.
Sorry, I'm jumping the gun.
Yeah, well, I mean, hey, you reference the world championship and how you're competing at that I can't blame them for. But yeah, they calling him the top ranked recruit is a little silly, just by way of quoting League OS's recruitment platform to make that claim. I don't have enough information to refute whether or not he's the top recruit of 2026, but League OS, I don't know if I'd call them the nation's best recruitment platform. But
North American high schooler, we can have that conversation. Best North American high school recruit, that's an argument, but it's not an argument outside of that. Also, I'm gonna make this because it's a joke. I know me and Doc can push jokes on one another. Doc's name going before the team in the press release.
Oh, really?
That's the most Boise thing of all time. Like, it says for a foundation for Doc Haskell and the team. That's just funny.
Oh, yeah.
That's just funny to me, and I poke fun at Doc for that. Again, love Doc to death. He's been a great mentor to me. But if we're in CRL West, this move goes up my list, but we're not. So that's why it's lower on my list compared to y'all's. But anyways, that's a funny. That's a good
Boise
read.
State. I think Boise State still has a pretty strong chance of making league play. They only lost to Akron Blue in the qual game 5 because 5UP hit the shot of his life.
Is that the one that he went off the ceiling after getting bumped?
Yes,
Yes, he got bumped, went off the ceiling, still hit the ceiling, got the flip, and went straight down, and no one had
that was pretty class.
That's my most liked tweet to this day. Is my reaction to that clip. So good point.
So if they were that close before in a move that I consider an upgrade, I feel like, and I don't even think did they play Qual 1 last semester? I don't remember if they did.
That was the one.
I don't think they did.
They were in Hawaii, but didn't play on the ping.
Right?
Yeah, they didn't play.
I'm pretty sure they didn't even try.
Yeah.
So having two chances with a new I think they can make league play. I would throw my money in the ring for Boise State to make league play. Will I actually throw money? No. But would I put my fake money? Yes, absolutely.
That's a good take. I like that.
All right, let's move on from Boise State. I'm sure, well, actually, I don't know if we'll talk plenty about them because they tend to keep to themselves in the scene. But, that's Boise. We'll talk about them, I'm sure. Next up, what's another girl? We talked about Ball State adding Fish and Yetting, and I will add on. I didn't give my 2 cents on them, but I love Fish as a person. Got to see him from the very start of his career in high school, and so him graduating now from the freshman that I got to meet at a local Alabama LAN 4 years ago to potentially being on the best B team in CRL, because Akron Gold and St. Clair Gold, who were previously kind of the front runners for that title, alongside Ball State's B team, they've kind of dipped a little bit in terms of talent or just existing at all. And so I've already talked to BK about this. I think this Ball State B team is going to be the best in CRL, which is a competition that I think only me and those two B teams that are competing for the title really care about. But I enjoy watching that back and forth. It was Akron Gold and Ball State. I can't remember if it's red or black, but the B team of Ball State.
It was black.
Okay, black. Thank you. And St. Clair Gold occasionally as well when they would pop off. But that's a fun conversation to have that we'll get to reignite with some new faces as well. But we've talked about the Ball State B team. So let's move on to Ole Miss. Because this was kind of out of nowhere. I don't know if you guys knew about this beforehand, but Ole Miss added Barrist and TMS. And TJ, you've got them at the 9th spot for you, 10th in my list. So, I mean, we know about Barrist. What do you know about TMS?
Well, from what I understand, TMS is somebody who is going to be absurdly composed, and I think it's somebody who's going to be a rock in this roster. Not to say that Lunar and Barrist aren't dependable, but when it comes to like strong rock leaders, right? TMS not only is a very, very solid European player, TMS also played in the Nations Cup qualifiers, made top 4 with Team Switzerland. I am very, very impressed with the history behind this player. Actually, sorry, Team Italy, excuse me. Played with Team Italy. And that also means that because you play with Team Italy, you get to play with Hyder and Arju. I mean, again, 2 very, very solid players to have, and also, again, had a really, really solid European stint. I mean, we're talking about a top 8 in EU Open 6 for the Paris Major. We're talking about a top 16. And this was with Cookser as coach. Then with Hyder and Grandma, the full Italian roster. So I am actually very excited for TMS because this is somebody who has shown they can do it in EU. Not to throw shade at any of the other recruits, but this is somebody who has done it and somebody who played on a dang good Nations Cup team and one that, again, was one of the better teams and one of the best in Europe, period. I think this is a move that is bigger than people are expecting, which then comes down to Barrist. Lunar will compete, Lunar will ball out, and Lunar will talk your ear off. I cannot wait to see Lunar and TMS. If Barrist is grinding the game and wants to win, Barrist can also be a rock on this team. However, the last 2 years have shown me that Barrist is good, but hasn't been grinding. If that changes, Ole Miss is a better league play contender to me today than Boise or Indiana Tech.
Ooh,
period.
Or Indiana
right
Tech.
Right now. Throw LCU in the conversation. Throw Ball State Black in the conversation. Ole Miss could beat all of those teams if TMS and Lunar can get syncing up and Barris is on 50, 60, 70 past 2 right now. I think that they are absolutely contending. That's why that move is higher on my list. I am easily top 3 most hopeful moves with this Ole Miss move.
Okay. I like the optimism you have in Ole Miss. It's been a minute since they've been at the very top, so maybe they'll get back there.
I mean, Warhood just does what he wants.
Yeah,
He's
TMS made the Esports World Cup. Like, we'll see him at the World Cup.
Okay.
But again, we want to know the funny part? CRL will be over when that happens. So
I think that's intentional. When is the World Cup? What are the dates?
The Esports World Cup is in November.
Yes.
It's November 3rd. It's oh no! Did they do this on purpose?
Yeah, I think so. Which is a little strange and only applies to like 2 people in CRL probably, but is what it is. But we've already been like an hour 15 deep, so we're gonna have to run through the roster moves a little bit more. Otherwise, this will be a 3-hour podcast, which is not out of the realm of possibility for a Collegiate Exclusive. But I don't want to be here until midnight for TJ. But let's move on. Shawnee State, Iceborg. I'll give you the reins on them. You and I both had them in 9th, adding Indicator in place of Spooky. I mean, I feel like that's a pretty significant change, just because Spooky was good, but Indicator is a huge step up.
Oh yeah, I love Spooky. I love him to death. I think Indicator is a massive upgrade. No disrespect. I think Spooky was.
I think Spooky would say this about himself.
No, we can be frank.
Yeah.
We can be frank because Spooky knows this. Spooky was a GC2, low GC3. We can be honest. This is he is a goat.
I love him to death.
Huge move.
He's been working in the gym.
True.
He's not been working on the field anymore because Indicator is in the ring and he's here to play. This does feel like still to me like this. I think I put them in the top 10 originally because this is a move that it upgrades the entire team compared to the rest of the field immensely for them.
Yeah,
I think this is an open team. Still.
And
I think this is a team that can make some great runs. I think it may be still a semester or two out before trying to compete for league play.
That's fair. I think they'll be close, which is good for Shawnee State, considering what the last year has been. And I think in a similar vein, not with regards to the past, but where they're going to be at in the rankings is the Kaiser move, which we didn't find out about until the Gaming Oasis Summer League kind of dropped and showed this roster off. But K-Frost and Turbo have reunited from the King University days, those several years ago, at Kaiser University now, playing alongside Denzi, who was a former starter at Kaiser when they were like flirting with the top 48, top 40, but have seriously upgraded now. Prism and Zinvez, again, same situation. Good, but Turbo and K-Frost are the far better duo, and they are actually playing in the Gaming Oasis Summer League Grand Finals against WCTC on Friday. I think it's 7 Eastern. Your boy Q is going to be streaming that for the sickos that want some CRL action pretty early. So that'll be happening. You can see the Kaiser team in action if you didn't already see them on my stream the last couple of weeks. But that's our top 10. You know, it's got a soft launch into the power rankings conversations that will come in the future. I'm sure of it. But let's talk about a few more that didn't make our lists. Just real quick, we're gonna bounce quickly off of them. We'll probably discuss one each. But I mean, where should we start, TJ? Who have we left off?
Yeah, I mean, I'll help pick up the pace a little bit. Bruton Parker brings Manny back to the starting lineup. I'll go ahead and speak for the Southeastern point of view. I think Manny getting a semester off the A team made him a better player instantly, hit rank A. I think learned how to lead a lot better. And I think now alongside Cass and Milk, those are players who need a strong vocal leader. Manny is now more than prepared to fill that role. They're going to be dangerous this year. Moving down the list, right? Yep. I'm going to save the Michigan State take because I don't know Mafino. I'm sorry. I don't know ball like that. I haven't been looking.
Okay.
So I'm going to skip. I'm going to let Iceborg or you come back and talk about that. So I'm going to keep moving.
I don't know Mafino either. Iceborg, do you know him?
All I know is that he's a really solid player.
Okay.
And I'm a big fan. I will give the safest answer imaginable, my friend. I love this Michigan State roster to death. And What just happened? Why?
No, nothing.
Okay. I thought I said something wrong. I'm scared.
No, I'm just laughing. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
Twitch chat's easy to laugh at, like mid-take. So if you ever see me crack up, TJ too, it's probably Twitch chat.
I'm looking at Twitch chat because they're right over here, and it's like, oh, either rank X or rank A.
I think Mafino is a good addition, but again, like I don't know if it changes everything for
I think Michigan State's still a gatekeep in the of even contending for like a top 5, like top 6 for opens. That's what it feels like.
They're gatekeeping top 32. They're gatekeeping top 24.
I think they'll be higher than top 32 for sure. I think they'll still be like that same Bruton Parker range.
Vino,
top 20.
Top 24 is fair.
But they'll be a 4-man. Jimmer confirmed this will be a 4-man lineup. I don't think they'll be a consistent starting 3. Maybe I don't know what the plan is, but I trust Jimmer with that lineup. So I have faith in Michigan State.
I'll give trust in a damn good coach, but I've never been on the train that I do not like 4-man rosters. I've never liked them in any.
There's a lot of CRL to be played though. Like you got all the opens, the PECs, the side lands.
Okay, play everything.
I like that. I like that take.
You're here to play. Like I don't.
That's if you're on scholarship, especially, I'm kind of with you here. I agree.
Like if you are on a roster on scholarship at a D1 university, I don't see why, unless you have like an insane amount of classes, or you have some other thing that comes up, yeah, I think you should be playing every event that you're doing, no matter how small.
Shout out
Good take.
Leopard for giving me Fanshaw's lineup. Looks like Chaz is out, Stitch is in, so change there as well. This is why I love
they're
our
such a
Twitch
demon.
chat.
Sorry
They
about
are. Fanshaw was one of those crazy demon rosters that popped up out of nowhere. I think I've heard Reeker is like a crazy ranked grinder.
Yeah, they will gatekeep the top 32.
Ooh,
They will gatekeep.
All right.
No, like they can punch higher, but
Yeah.
like they're gonna be. I think they're gonna be stuck behind the Bruton Parkers. They're gonna be stuck behind the Michigan States. They're gonna be stuck behind the Ole Misses. They're gonna be stuck behind. Maybe I don't know about the Shawnee roster yet. Give me a second. I don't know about that. But anyways, I want to keep moving down the list so we can keep moving. At Matt Aloysius, unfortunately, no more Pigby. You get Sammy Jammers subbed in officially now. Sammy was very impressive at CECC. They got some big upset wins. Sammy is not a very high ranked player. I think Sammy's like high GC3 or low SSL. So a long way to go, but you've got some really, really good players to learn from, and they've got some great regional competition to learn from. I can say this a little bit more confidently. Until Sammy gets to mid SSL, like 2.1, 2.2K, they will gatekeep the top 32. Unless Skippy is just Jesus himself, which is possible. All right. Still going down the list. Cumberland Academy. With the addition of Kazi, we expect that roster to be Og, Zora, Hotshot.
We have been told in Twitch chat that apparently this roster may change. Right now, Zora and Hotshot are gatekeeping who their new pickup is, but allegedly this Cumberland's gotten a new recruit that is not on our radar, so this may change.
Oh,
Awesome.
Well, I mean, Hotshot also just DM'd me, so I'm glad that he did because that makes a lot more sense now. Okay, with the news that we've just received, I'm not going to leak it unless Hotshot wants us to. They are going to be another demon team, especially with Hotshot and the CRL experience alongside a player with the experience of Zora, and also with this potential third that we're being told about. You're going to have 2 CRL players on that roster, and then you're going to have Zora with everything to learn. You're gonna have 2 CRL very surprising offensive, mechanically talented players on this roster, and then Zora. Which, not to say, Cole, sorry, Cole. Zora is a great player. Zora should be rank A, but I need Cole to learn as much as he can from the guys around him because I need Cole to be like an absolute demon on defense, and I need him to be able to win 1v2s in CRL commonly. If Hotshot is speaking correct, the Ball State Black versus Cumberland Academy dynasty or rivalry, that's gonna be a banger. Anyways, I don't want to Hotshot. I don't want to leak if Hotshot doesn't want us to, so I'm not gonna say anything. The Fanshaw roster's been added. Very excited to see them again. They're gonna be gatekeeping that top 30, top 32-ish. Kind of just excited to see where they go. They're going to be NECC Demons. Manchester, a big ad with Collat.
Yeah.
I am very, very excited for Coach Knox is over there to get his hands on a player like Collat, and good for Collat for going over to Manchester. That's a big move for Collat. So very excited for Collat. And then in terms of other big moves, I mean, look, I'm not going to sit here and talk about UGA. Because our roster isn't confirmed yet either, but I'm very happy with getting a full SSL roster at UGA for the first time since 2018. I'm very happy. I'm very excited to see what we get to do. Hopefully we get to compete in like NECC Div 3. I'm just going to make that personal anecdote. And UTD on here as well. Calculated on the starting team. I am very, very excited to see what Calculated gets to do on that team. Also, very confused as to what Maryland's going to do. I have no idea who's going to fill in with Hex there. No
I
clue.
reached out to Hexy about it, and he was just like, yeah, we are nowhere close to having a roster set right now. So it's just Hexy. I know that for a fact, but I don't know if it'll be waiters and then a new third that they bring in or what the plan is. But yeah, Maryland's going to be changing a good bit. I love the calculated bring up from the UTD Academy team. And then Olivet, we should talk about as well, because they'll be like a decent top 48 team as well, minimum, probably fighting for that top 32 spot. But there are so many teams in that range. Fuj, Hezi, and Sialu. I don't know the third, but Fuj and Hezi I know about. You guys got any intel on Sialu?
The name sounds familiar in ranked. I would imagine Silu is probably pushing 2K, 2.1K based on my memories. Hotshot would be able to help me here. Hotshot's a grinder. I've seen Silu in a few of my lobbies, but I don't get higher than 1900 like nowadays. So I don't.
Okay, you're busy.
I don't know exactly. So anyways,
this is ranked
I don't
and then
know.
random order, Bluey. This is like just put on the
Yeah, they are
board.
not. They are not ranked.
This is not ranked. Like the top, the most notable ones are at the top. But other than that, we just threw these at a board.
Yep. On that note, I think that Bepic, you can talk about Brock, but I think outside of that, I think we're probably ready to keep the show moving.
But Brock and York are going to be the same sort of conversations as last semester, so we'll talk about them when they make their run out of nowhere in a CRL open. But shout out Leopard in Twitch chat for dropping information on these rosters, because I don't have contacts with all these teams. I did my best, but this is why I love our audience here. But no, Bluey, this is not ranked. This is just like kind of thrown together, generally speaking. The top of CRLs towards the top of the list, but outside of that, it's not ranked. It's just like the order that they ended up being in when I thought of them to put them on the list. So Bluey's filling in Indiana Tech B now as well. Rank A, Perry and Silk.
Oh,
so
whoa.
there we go,
All right,
guys.
Okay.
All right, Indiana Tech B is going to be worth watching out for too. All
It's gonna be a
right,
fun roster.
heck yeah.
So all right.
Talk about Unk College never changing. UNCC Unk College, as I call them in my cast.
Dude, for real. They've been together what now? 2 years? 2 full
It's
years?
This might be
Lazy and Knight
they
is
might be
their
coming up
third
on
year.
3. Yeah.
Bala's its second. Actually, no, Lazy and Knight joined in 2023, and then Bala joined in 2024.
Yeah.
So this is a Unk College, as I call them, because that's what they are.
One more note about roster. Shout out Dante. Shout out Wish on Bruton Parker Academy. Okay,
Yes.
all right, I'm ready now. Had to get that out.
All right. Well, for those of you that want to see more rosters and all that as it gets filled in, I'm posting the link to this sheet. It is public, and it'll fill in as we go along. So there you go, everybody. Thanks for watching the podcast. That's your gift for today. But we are an hour and a half in.
Wait. Hashtag Bepic in the CRL desk. All right. Hashtag Bepic on the CRL desk. All right.
Maybe one day.
Now you guys can go wild with it.
All right. Actually, it's still you, TJ, because we're talking LANs now, and you've got your fingerprints all over 2 of the bigger LANs of the fall semester. Those that missed it, NECC has announced a LAN in partnership with Future Play with a $50,000 prize pool, which is a bigger prize pool than CRL Champs in the spring by about 3x. So that should give you some sort of scale as to what this prize pool is. And I'll put the press release on screen. Get ready for a flashbang as TJ talks us through both. I want to know, like, to the extent of your involvement and also information on the LAN.
Yeah, I mean, let's do it. So first off, NECC and NACE have volunteered their efforts to help us market the event. The main parties involved in this event are going to be iHeartRadio, which is huge. Illinois, as in some state involvement, is very, very huge. And basically, they have gone full focus in alongside Garden State Esports, which obviously has been one of the most relevant high school programs ever in Scholastic Esports. They have now combined forces to try and make this one of the biggest collegiate events, period, ever, all the way up in Illinois. So now going down the list, because I know I've gotten a lot of questions about this event. So first, I want to say my role, and then I'm going to answer questions. Right, as it stands today, I am leading the seeding for this event across all 3 pools, and I am leading the tournament organization across all 3 pools.
Okay.
So my role in this is very heavy. And I say that because if people have questions, don't be afraid to contact me. Now, similar to what me and Somber have talked about in DMs, there's going to be a few things you might ask me where I say, you need to make a ticket in our Discord server because I want to make sure we get an answer from the big shot, like the big shot heads at Garden State. I want to get things in writing. But most of the rules I have already committed to my memory. I've been working on this event with them over the last 2 months now that I've been in the background. I am very, very excited for this event. And the fact that it's happening in October as well, it's going to be in prime time. It's going to be a part of a much larger event. We're talking about, this is not the only thing going on. More information about that for another time. But again, let's get back to the tournament. Please, please, please make sure that you check out the Start GG page, because all of the information is on said page. And now as Bepic's doing his thing, I will also talk about the format as well. So the proposed format and what is supposed to be stuck is going to be the top 8 from 4-year institutions, the top 8 from 2-year institutions, and then the top 8 from HBCUs. That's because this event is meant to be the biggest conglomeration of collegiate esports and the biggest melting pot representation of collegiate esports, period. Now, we have also heard the feedback. I have been on their backs about the feedback about, hey, you're going to get a lot of these 4-year schools who are going to be way, way better than some of the 2-year schools or HBCUs. And so please do note that things can change. However, that is not confirmed. So I have to make sure I state that. That is not guaranteed by any means. Now, going down even further, qualifiers are going to be capped at 256 teams in total.
That's all.
So if you are not, well, from what I understand, we're supposed to be capping. We're supposed to be capping at 256. Obviously, if the registration is there, maybe I could argue for more.
Okay, that was a joke. This is a huge qualifier.
Yeah, I know. I'm in PR mode right now. I'm in a flow state.
Oh, good.
So ideally, if the registration is very, very high, that could change, but it most likely will not, because I don't think we're going to get over 256 teams. But also, as the guy who has to help seed all of these pools, I don't plan on it going higher than 256. Also, if you want to be seated, well, get on my good side. No, I'm kidding. Anyways, $50,000. That's the big thing, is that CRL is $60,000 across all the events. This is $50,000 at the LAN, period.
Insane.
This is the biggest event. This is CRL Worlds, if I'm being honest. This is the biggest event of the year. This is the biggest LAN of the year. And if you are not signing up for this, I think you're insane. That is just my personal take as somebody who works with the event, but also as a caster and a commentator and a community figure. Then, here is why I think you're crazy. Because if you place top 24 and you make the LAN, you get your flights covered for your team. And a sub, and a coach / director. You get your flights covered for all of those people. That's 5 total. 5 total. Not to mention, there is also going to be accommodations for meals. There's going to be merchandise. There's also going to be VIP access at the event at large, which guess what this event is a part of? It's iHeartRadio. It's a music festival, guys. This is a LAN as a part of a music festival with iHeartRadio. This is a huge event. And if you place top 24, aka if you go show up to the LAN and you get washed, you still get VIP access to the festival. You still get your trip paid for. You still get some accommodations with meals. You still get free merchandise. Like, you get all of this just for making it. So please, please, please sign up. And I really, really hope that A, I will be there. I don't know if I'm going to be there in person yet. Still working that out. But B, I wish you all the absolute best of luck. And see, if you have questions, message me. For those of you asking about multiple rosters from one school being allowed to qualify, that is a ruling that is being made behind the scenes. I do not have confirmation on that, but if you wanted my best educated guess for tonight, I would imagine that only one team per school will be allowed to represent and qualify. That's my guess because of the representation factor this event is supposed to be, because this is a part of a much larger event. But yeah, it is still the biggest collegiate event of the season, period. So please, please go register. And if you have questions, DJTJ on Discord. My email is DJTJcast with an S on the end. That's CASTS, DJTJcast @gmail.com. And again, please check out the Start GG. All the information I just talked about is in order on the Start GG page. And if you need the Start GG page, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to throw it in the chats. So if you need it, grab it. That is the Collegiate Esports Showdown. That's the Future Play Showdown. I'm very, very excited for October.
I mean, this is the biggest LAN maybe outside of CRL Worlds ever. Is that factual?
I think that's factual. Based on my knowledge, I believe that's factual.
I mean,
$10,000 for just for first place. Like,
yeah, $50,000 prize pool, covered
total
flights. Everybody who makes the event gets prize money. Even if you place 24th, you get your VIP tickets, you get food, you get accommodations with your meals, you get your flights covered. I think in terms of the financial investment, this is the greatest amount of money invested at once for what I believe is a really good cause, because they're focused on highlighting the scene and then competition. And we're trying to find that happy balance with the big wigs right now. So I believe so.
well, we'll talk about it plenty on the podcast. That was the high level breakdown of one of the two LANs that we're talking about. TJ, get to go again. I hope you got plenty of water. But this one maybe
I'm the only one drinking.
this one, maybe less information for you to have to go over, but still a $5,000 LAN that you are also involved with. But this is the Great Lakes Gaming Convention Rocket League LAN happening. This one's in Michigan, so another northern LAN. What you got for us here?
All right, let's do it. So last year, the event was named the. Oh man, I gotta remember. It basically, long story short, it is an event in association with the Great Lakes Loons. They are the, I believe, AA affiliate of the Los Angeles Dodgers, which means that yes, the picture and the videos are not a lie. We will be playing Rocket League. We'll be playing on a baseball diamond. We will be playing on the field in the suites. You will have access to the whole facility. And this year, and yes, Somber, I believe you're right, but that's neither here nor there. This year, what I really, really appreciate about this event is that the Great Lakes Loons and those, the powers that be in Michigan, they have decided to give Northwood Esports full administrative reign over helping organize this event. Northwood then said, hey, we can't have one of our kids TO because we're going to be competing because we have one of the best teams of CRL. How about we get DJTJ to be the head Rocket League tournament organizer? So yes, I am also the head of seating. Yes, I am also the head tournament organizer for this event. And yes, I will see everybody in Michigan at the baseball field for this event. I have been confirmed and signed on for that. I am thrilled for this event. Now, let's talk about information. There are 2 qualifiers for this event. And if you're wondering how many teams make the event, I am triple checking my notes before I make any jumping conclusions. It should be 8 and 8 based on the last conversation that I believe was put in the Star GG. It should be 8 and 8. So 8 from qualifier 1, 8 from qualifier 2, and then it will be again, $5,000 prize pool. Not to mention there's also prize pools going on with a Rocket League High School Invitational, a Super Smash Brothers singles bracket, and a Collegiate Cruise bracket. There's a lot of money. There's $16,000 across those events alone. And well, with the Rocket League event included, that's $16,500 between those events. So qualifier 1, 8 teams, August 20th, 8 p.m., double elimination. Then you get to the qualifier 2, August 22nd, 8 p.m., double elimination. And we are going to get to 8 teams, 4 in the upper bracket, 4 in the losers bracket for both qualifiers. And that's going to get us 16. And then obviously we hope to see everybody in Michigan. Outside of that, this event is a lot simpler for me to explain because I'm not as heavily involved because it's a lot of Northwood and their incredible students. Obviously Bepic has the tweet up. If you guys go to that account and you follow that account and you listen to the video, Lexi, who is the marketing kind of coordinator / goat at Northwood, Lexi is running this account. Lexi is also an active student at Northwood.
Shout out Lexi.
And when it comes to student leaders and student representatives, Lexi is one of the most impressive people I have ever met. And Lexi also is a content creator and is partnered with brands like Corsair. So Lexi is simply one of the most hardworking and driven people I know. And this event is basically in her and the marketing team's hands, and then in my hands, and then the Smash coordinator's hands. So I like to think we got a pretty good dream team. I like to think we got a pretty good crew. So really, really hope to see everybody there. Please, please, please try your hand at qualifiers. There is no restriction on who can qualify, and there is no restriction on multiple teams from the same school qualifying. So this one is a lot more open, and again, there is a very, very hefty prize pool in this one as well. So please go check that out. The Star GG is also in there. Slayer also pointed out that Madden is involved. Yes, Madden will be involved. I believe that also, if I remember, I think on top of that, we were going to potentially do an MLB The Show match. Anyways, there's also a Mario Kart World Open event as well. I'm so excited for this event. I am so excited for this event. You will most likely hear me and Kev running around all day. You might even get to hear me and Kev casting some Madden that day for a few $1,000s. So again, go to the links. Feel free to DM me for questions, and I hope to see everybody in Michigan. This event is happening on September 26th and 27th. The qualifiers are August 20th and 22nd. Good luck.
And I want to point out as well that since this is kind of like a motif of listening to the community and making improvements based on that, that last LAN that we just talked about was the LAN last year that kind of got made fun of a little bit for a weird start. Frames. Yeah, Field of Frames. There's just a lot going on. This is one of my more liked tweets, which is weird. So they listened to the community and patched some things up after having a lot of flaws initially in their announcement and format and all of that. This is also the one I think that forfeited Northwood and St. Clair for competing in CRL the same day, but they've made those changes and should be a lot better an event this year. So you have to have respect for that, not just coming under this fire for the controversy and the missteps and bowing out of the scene, but instead making the necessary fixes to put on actually a good event this year. So shout out again to everyone that listens to their community and puts on an improved event from the last one. That's all we ask for is improvement. But Iceborg, it looks like you stopped playing Rocket League competitively for teams at the wrong time.
You know, I retired for a very good reason, and that was because I was casting, doing graphic design, and playing all at the same time.
It's a bit much.
And I had to choose, especially for the sake of my academics, what do I want to do? What do I want to be? And I chose, I want to cast. I love being behind the mic. I love being on stream. And I wanted to continue doing graphic design because that's what I want to do for my career. I want to do graphic design in esports. I want to do graphic design for ESPN. That's the goal one day. So I was like, time to put down the controller. And I've got to be honest, I haven't played a video game at all in I think 4 months. It is okay. It's pretty crazy. I've done nothing but watch TV shows with my girlfriend and do graphic design. That's really all I've been doing.
It's the dream, honestly. Well, you're missing out on the prize pools, but it seems like you've got your own prize pool already secured. You don't have to go through the open quals and then LAN portion. But since it's now an hour 40 now past the start time, we're going to speed run past the next few segments. Alphabet Soups, we're just going to talk about registration stuff and all the leagues that are going on. But we will have, I think, probably 2 episodes in between now and when those registration dates hit. So don't worry about that right now. We'll cover it on a future episode. Gaming Oasis Summer League, I already plugged it, but your boy Q is streaming Kaiser versus WCTC this Friday. Championship of a summer league that we've been running for the SCL and the NEL. So go watch Kaiser and WCTC on Q's stream. And then last little bits, last couple of topics for us to touch on. This one is near and dear to the podcast because Shane, the former coach at Davenport, has announced his retirement from esports just as a whole. And he is one of the few guests that we've actually had on this podcast previously. So Shane, he put out a tweet. He messaged, I assume you as well, TJ, some very nice words. And so I felt like we had to shout him out because he's been on the podcast and we're going to miss him from esports. But great coach, great person. Love talking ball with him, especially at LAN when we get to hang out with him. I mean, TJ, I know you were very close to Shane as well.
I mean, Shane is somebody who I not only got to, he's one of the few people who I've gotten to joke with, learn from, and go through everything and anything with. Me and Shane actually spoke on the phone while I was in Jacksonville, and we got to talk for like 30 minutes just about anything and everything.
Nice.
Shane is a really good friend of not only the program, but a very good friend of ours as well. And also, in terms of somebody who was willing to fight for students, fight for esports, and somebody who was able to construct rosters out of players that we did not think was possible.
Yeah.
Shane is the only coach who I think could get Brock and Cam to play together. And I will die on that. I think he's the only one who could have done it. And Shane is a incredibly special talent. And I really hate that that he's stepping out of the scene. But also I understand he's got bigger and better things that he's doing. He's working and he's doing pretty good right now when we talked not that long ago. So I'm honestly excited for Shane.
Well, I'm glad. Sometimes life comes before esports, and so we had to shout him out before closing the last episode. Any more minor things to talk about? Next podcast episode will probably be the week of the first qualifier. For those that want to mark your calendar, so you're here for the next one instead of having to read my mislabeled graphics that I put out on Twitter. I think that's kind of it for me. It's been a long, very successful first episode back. Iceborg, it's been great having you on the podcast. I imagine we'll see your face on here a lot more this semester. So I hope you enjoyed yourself.
That was great. I hope I would be here every week if y'all allowed me.
We'll see what happens. TJ, great to be back with you, man. Season 3 of Collegiate Exclusive. Who knew we'd make it almost a year and a half of actual calendar time this podcast has been going on. Time really does fly.
Well, I mean, not only that, I think I've now officially done this podcast from, let's see here. I think I've done this podcast in 5 different states in 3 seasons. So I got issues, but I will be at UGA through this school year. So at least for the next season or 2 seasons, I should stay put.
Okay.
So I'm glad to be back on this side of the scene. I do miss where I was with coaching and all that, but I am very, very happy that I get to be in an administrative position with a lot of these huge events. I'm glad that my name gets to be alongside the ride for what, again, I argue is 2 of the biggest LANs of the year, next to CECC, which I hope I'm a part of again as well. I am very blessed where my career has taken me, and it's because of y'all's support for tuning in and also tuning in on social media and participating on social media and boosting the scene to what it is today. That gives me the platform, gives Bepic the platform, gives Ice the platform to do what we all do. So seriously appreciate everybody for watching. We love every single one of you. And please, again, spread the word. I'm going to be tweeting a lot about those 2 LANs. Yep. I am very excited for those. Again, 2 of the biggest events of the year. You get to play on a baseball field, or you get to win $10,000 in a $50,000 prize pool, and you get VIP tickets to a music festival. I am very excited.
Really cool.
Yeah, I'm very cool. Very excited for those events. And I get to go to Michigan for the baseball event. So I will hopefully see everybody there, and I hopefully see everybody in Illinois as well, along with the thousands of LANs that seem to happen every single year. I hope I'm traveling just as much as I was this past semester. So ideally, I'll see you every other weekend at whatever Southeastern LAN happens. But again, seriously, thank you all for your support. Very excited for what's next.
All right, everyone. I've got homework for you. It's still summer, so I know you got bandwidth for it. Step 1, follow the LANs that TJ is promoting. You want to compete in it. We want the turnout for those LANs to be incredible. Anyone that invests that much money and time and effort in the CRL space should be rewarded in the simplest way possible with team participation. So make sure, if you can, play in those qualifiers, qualify for the LAN, win you a bag, just have fun, whatever your goals are. Step 2, follow Sheep Collegiate and the Collegiate Exclusive Podcast on Twitter. Make sure you're supporting the media outlets as well as the LANs. And step 3 of the homework, sign up for CRL. It's coming up faster than you may think. You got now 14 days before the Qual 1 registration closes. So yeah, very fast indeed. But you've all been fantastic. Like TJ said, we love you so much. Thank you for coming back for the first episode in 4 months. It feels so good to be back and be talking to Twitch chat, getting live information about teams from Twitch chat, and supporting the collegiate esport that we love so much. So we'll see you in the next one. Everyone have a fantastic evening, and just goodbye. Do your homework.